So, hi everyone, welcome to the Global Gate series, in which we generally invite guests who talk about how they got positions in different countries. We have had guests who are now doing PhD in Germany, in basically European countries, Switzerland, Austria. But somehow I hadn't covered someone who is about to pursue a PhD, in countries like Australia and New Zealand. So today we have with us Shallu. She is going to be pursuing her PhD in one of the universities in New Zealand. Apart from that, she has done her masters from IIT Delhi, and she can tell you more about, how the experience was at IIT Delhi as well. And one more thing that I want to clarify before I ask her to talk about her experience is that you might thinking, oh, she's from IIT, so it would have been easy. It is never easy for anyone. IIT is not like a magic wand or something that you say you basically cast a spell and then you get a PhD. You have to put in efforts. So thank you once again for accepting the invitation.
Thank you so much for having me here. Hey everyone, I am Shallu. I'm from Delhi. I've done my graduation from Miranda House University of Delhi and currently completed my post-graduation from IIT Delhi. And now I'm looking forward to start my PhD from University of Canterbury, New Zealand. Uh, if I told about academic experience, I have done only one internship at DRDO. It was in the applied sciences field.
That's
If
fine.
I tell about my experience.
Yeah, that's fine. So, like, let's keep it informal. Let's not make it very formal so that it can be interactive, right? So, okay, Shahrul, like you mentioned, first thing, a lot of people want to know, how did you bag the internship? You mentioned that you did an internship at DRDO. So, can you just briefly tell about how you got this position?
When I applied in March. I was not very sure I want to pursue my career in chemistry or not. I just called my professor at Miranda House. I just wanted to discuss with her what should I do. She really insisted me that apply at one place only. Like she has done her PhD from DRDO. So she said just apply at DRDO. Let's see if you get it, do it. Otherwise, don't do it. So I just applied at one place and mailed with CV and SOP. And fortunately, I got it. Like after a week, I got it.
Did your professor also put in a word at DRDO that this is my student and she's
Yes.
okay? No, not at all.
It
Okay.
was completely
And
independent.
there was no open position advertised as such. You just emailed. It was like a cold email that you sent out to the professor,
Yes.
to the scientist. Okay, that's nice. Okay, and did you do any other internship apart from the one at DRDO?
No, sir.
Okay.
It was my first
Right.
internship.
Okay. And we were having this off-camera discussion, and during the discussion, she told me about her PhD topic, so which is quite fascinating. So, Shalu, can you tell us more about the field that you're going to pursue your research in?
Yes, the topic is analysis of illicit drugs by using benchtop NMR specifically. We'll be using more analytical techniques, but benchtop NMR will be using more precisely because usually we use NMR which have 400 megahertz frequency or 500 like more, and they require hefty spaces and they are big and maintenance is high. But in desktop NMR, they are like UV spectroscopy. If you have seen it, like it's very small, but the problem is it is of 60 megahertz, and so the resolution will be very less. So we'll be using quantum mechanical modeling to sort out the data, and we'll be creating the library like of the drugs which has not been published and like their composition has not been analyzed yet.
Right, but I think it's good to know that you're going to be working on something which has like huge applications, in today's global scenario. Because I know about I since I am a bit into fitness, I know about how the steroid molecules, they are sort of like doping scandals you might have heard about in different fields. So how they kind of like derivatize known steroids so that they are not detected in the usual tests. So I think having a portable device which can do these tests, that is going to be really helpful, not just for the illicit drugs but in general also. If you want to do fast detection of certain compounds in a reaction, I think that is also somewhere it can be really useful. So I mean, a wonderful topic that you have actually you will be getting to do research in. Now, even I am not really aware of the universities which are known for the research in New Zealand, and for example, in USA, you require GRE and TOEFL, or some in UK also you require either TOEFL or IELTS score. So for New Zealand, what is the essential criteria, the basic requirement to be able to apply for PhD?
So in New Zealand as well as Australia, there is a requirement of IELTS. Like they don't prefer much GRE or TOEFL. Like I really don't know about it, but everyone, three interviews I had from Australia, they all told me about IELTS, and even in New Zealand as well. So I guess IELTS is a criteria, and MSc report. They need your master's report or thesis, like what you have done in the research experience and the good grades. I guess because we get scholarship over there, and even in Australia it is too competitive. Like if you don't have 9.5 plus, I guess they'll say straight on your face that you won't be getting it. And in Australia, in the top universities, they even ask for publications. Like I believe Australia is too competitive. In New Zealand, they asked me for my master's report, IELTS score, and just good grades of masters. That's it.
Okay, so you mean that apart from good grades and IELTS score, some research experience in your masters, like you said that some thesis needs to be presented, some project work or some thesis is required during your
Yes.
masters. Okay. And can you tell us more about the universities, like apart from the university where you will be pursuing your PhD? Apart from that, what all other universities are there which are known for the research, if you have some idea?
Yes, sir. So there is University of Auckland, which comes under top 100. Like from our seniors and the professors, I've heard about Europe and US only. I don't know why they never told us about New Zealand, because it is a very good country, and the universities are also very nice over there. University of Otago and Massey and University of Canterbury, where I will be going there. It is in Christchurch, and it comes under 300. And like civil engineering department comes under top 10 in world. So I believe we are just not aware about New Zealand. This is a very good place to go, and there are very good universities, and the environment is so good. Like from India, I feel like this.
Yeah, of course, and it's actually one of my dream countries. Though for some other reason, I am like a huge travel freak. So New Zealand is one of the travel destinations that I definitely have on my bucket list. Okay, now talking about how did you sort of like come across this position? Like because I also am very active on different social professional platforms, social media platforms, but I hardly come across any positions in New Zealand or Australia, whereas I come across many positions in Europe, in America, open PhD positions. So how did you come across this position in New Zealand?
Well, like I told you, I started applying in October. Uh, I was doing personalized mails since October, but I wasn't getting any kind of good rewards. Like I was just getting give me research proposal or we'll interview you, something like that, but not a core interview or like position I can have. So from February, I started to apply there. There are open positions available. So I started to find Urexes, Find a PhD, and Scholarship.net, if I remember correctly. Find a PhD, I believe it is a very, very good platform. There I used to see the topics and the requirements, and there I started mailing. And Find a PhD, they are all over the countries like UK, US. US very rare, but UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, I guess I saw only one position where I applied. So from there I got to know.
Okay, that's quite good. And so I like whatever websites we are going to be discussing and whatever courses or whatever material that we are going to be discussing in today. Don't worry, all the links and all the links will be provided in the description box. So don't worry about that. Okay, so now you said that on Find a PhD, you basically you put some keywords in which field you wanted to work in, and then you were able to
Yes.
locate country wise. Okay, so how
Yes.
did you first of all shortlist your areas of research, like where you really want to work in? How did you come across that decision, okay, that I want to work in these three? I know there cannot be just one area that you want to work in, there will be at least two or three, but how did you shortlist those areas?
So like my first research experience was at a DRDO. From there only I knew that I don't want to go into core chemistry. I want to go into application-based chemistry. So there I had some hands-on experience on medicinal chemistry, like drugs or targeted drug delivery. And in my research lab at IIT Delhi, I did some analysis work, like using UV visible spectroscopy. I used to see how dye is getting degrading So there I realized that I like, from DRDO I realized that I like part which is something related to application and drug something, and there at IIT Delhi I realized I like more analysis and compiling the data. So from there I just got a kind of sure that I want to do in biosensors. Like this was in my list. Even I got position in Canada, it was in biosensors. But the QS ranking was a bit low, so I was a bit confused. Like should I go or not? So there I realized that in analysis or in drug things I want to go.
Just okay, that's actually nice. Just out of curiosity, since you mentioned that you also got shortlisted in Canada, how many positions did you finally get shortlisted in? Like how many, for how many
Uh,
positions?
so it's six. Like in seven, like I did seven interviews, and I guess in seventh also I got into it, but it was from textile department. So they liked my interview, but they were like it was not aligning with me. But
Okay.
their topic was also very good. They were I guess implanting enzyme on the fibers so that they can reuse the enzyme again and again.
Okay. So more or less, your like the positions that you applied in were something to do with either analysis or something to do with medicinal, like medicinal chemistry, or targeted, like you said, drug delivery or targeted inhibition. Okay. Right.
Yes,
Okay.
basically the bio and chemistry.
Right. Got it. So, Shalu, can you walk us through the position at New Zealand? Like, what was the procedure? Like, how, you saw a open position, and then can you just walk us through the whole position, like the whole process until you got shortlisted?
I try my best. In the late April, I remember I just shot the mail to the professor, and I guess after 10 days I got the revert. They asked my transcripts and the research thesis which I've been working on, because that time I didn't have it, I guess, as I remember. So I just sent them this, and after that they asked me for interview. I guess this was the only mail where they wrote like whole paragraph was there. They told me they'll ask me about analytical chemistry. They want to know about my project and my background. And this was my interview. They really asked about myself, like who am I? Otherwise, everyone was like they started asking questions on interview or either opening my CV. And in one position, they even asked me, how did you make talcum powder? Because I wrote in the CV that I synthesized talcum powder. So I got the mail, and in a week I had interview on 12th of May, and on 19th of May they told me that they had selected me, and and again it was very specific mail, like it was written over their stipend and scholarship and like everything. And after a week I got the contract letter from there, and now like I haven't completed the admission process. It is quite lengthy. It takes like, yes, I don't know how many pages the application form was. It was like 10 or 20. It's going on. I guess it will take one more month, because I
Okay.
was about to start from 1st July, but I guess it will take time.
So, when you saw this open position, let me just break it down into sections. You applied for that position using your, did you write a SOP, or a cover letter?
Yes.
Okay. And apart from that, you had your grades in which were mentioned in the CV. And at that time, you did not complete your master's thesis. So you just mentioned that you are doing a project currently.
So I guess I applied in March over there, or I got revert late, because on 16th April, I remember I completed my master season. 16th April, there was presentation.
So before you had actually completed your project, you applied like with whatever project, like you just mentioned that you're still pursuing a project on this and so topic in your CV, is it?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
also had your IELTS score. So when did you give your IELTS?
So I gave my IELTS on 29th of May. Like whenever I used to apply in March, I just told them I'll be applying for IELTS,
Okay.
because
Okay. So
it was in my
at that
mind
time
that
you did not qualify IELTS. You applied without a IELTS qualification.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. And if you don't mind, can you tell us what was your IELTS score?
It was very less, but I have no problem in telling. It was 6.5, and the minimum requirement is 6 or 6.5. It should be 6.5.
Okay, that's good. Ultimately, it's just a qualification criteria. So yeah, if you qualify, that is good enough. So yeah, so you applied, and with your okay, and what were your grades, if you don't mind again telling me at that point of time?
So it was 9.408
Okay, so it's
during
like
that time.
super high. Okay, Fine. So you had good grades, and then at that time you didn't have the IELTS score. So you applied through your you did not have any publications as well during that time.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. So it was your grades. It was then your internship. Maybe I think since the internship was somewhat in a related field, that might have helped. And later on, and IELTS score was something that you applied later on. And in the cover letter, like, okay, so when you're writing the cover letter, did you take help from your seniors? Did you take help from somewhere? Like, how did you write your cover letter?
Sir, I took the help of your video. You uploaded, I guess, I remember, and from the Google.
Okay, so you did not really show it to your seniors or your friends that how does it look? Does it look fine? Or nothing
With
of
the
that?
friends I discussed after preparing, like with my one friend, I used to do all this stuff, like from starting to the end. So we both used to discuss together.
Okay, okay, right. So you sent out the email and then you got a really like elaborate email discussing about what is the what are like when is your interview and what questions are going to be there, and all the details basically, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
So even like I jotted out the points, what can one include in their cover letter? Like I can tell, I just jotted
oh
down.
yes, that will definitely be very helpful. You can mention it
So
for
I
sure.
just, because I know I'll forget some.
And by the way, you have a like a really good success ratio. Like out of seven was shortlist of interview, you got into all seven, right? So that is amazing.
Yes, so but like I wanted to go in Europe first, and I like even I tell in the progressing video, I believe timings also matter. Like my few friends who started just in March, and they have gotten the positions. Like many people in Europe in April and May, I believe there are certain open positions.
And when did you apply to Europe?
So I started applying in October, mid October.
Okay, so like your assumption is that maybe at that point of time the positions are not open when you were applying.
So they are like I used to get rewards that time as well, but they were not like very positive rewards. Like either they'll be taking me after a year, or like some professor said they'll be able to take me after 2 years. So I believe sometimes timing matters, or maybe destiny. I don't believe much, but maybe.
Okay, so but then like how did you like since you had made up your mind that you want to go to Europe, uh, then how did you finally decide that okay, I'm confident or I'm okay with New Zealand as well because like you said you got shortlist from Canada and even Australia if I'm not wrong. So then how did you make up your mind that you want to go to New Zealand? Was it only because of the research topic?
So it was because of the research topic and the country as well. Like before, I don't know anything about New Zealand, but when I got this position, I discussed with the professors and actually read about it. So it is, I guess, very better and very good. Even like I thought after IS, I'll again apply to Europe, and even I was about to start applying again in with the Europe. But I just got convinced somehow with the professors or my parents. Like my father really insisted me, and my friend with whom I'll be doing all my stuff, he really insisted me. Like it is actually better. Even there is no language barrier, kind of.
That's
In
actually a very good
Germany
point.
or in Europe, you have to learn some kind of language. But in New Zealand, they use English.
Yes, yes, that's actually a very good
And I
reason.
talked Yes, and I talked to the people on LinkedIn. Even I discussed with two, three people that they have done their PhD from Germany and postdoc from New Zealand. You have been to both of the places. Tell me the differences because I am really confused. So they told me, and like I don't remember any single human who told me that you should not go to New Zealand. Even I read the pros and cons list over the Google. So I thought it is better. I guess I should knew it about it earlier.
Yeah, I think so because like given your profile, what I believe is you could definitely get shortlisted in Europe as well. But even I would agree with whatever suggestions you have got or whatever your advisors mentioned that New Zealand is a very good place to to overall basically to stay, to do research, to explore everything in all regards. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, yeah, let's get back to the points you mentioned. Yes, a few a few points.
Yes, sir. Like in CV, what usually people do, this also I learned. Like I started with 4-page CV. I remember I shared with you as well. But now I came to 2 pages CV after the experience. Like after grades, you should write your project and research experience instead of scholastic achievements because they are interested in your project only. Even in the interview, they don't see you are gold medalist or something. You have done this. They're interested what you have done and what you know about your research. They don't even ask you what they are doing in their research. They explain that we should know, we should be confident, like what we have done and how much we like it. And in SOP, like how I used to write, I used that Europass you suggested me. I guess you have played important role in my JAM as well as in my PhD thing. I refer your videos a lot. In SOP, I used like addressing the professor, greetings to the professor. In first paragraph, I used to write about myself. In second paragraph, why I want to join their group and what I really like and how it aligns with me, like how their research is overlapping with me. If sometimes it doesn't, I just used to say like used to say directly that I may not be the very good candidate for you, but I'm quite curious and hardworking that I can learn your research. And in last paragraph, I used to write how I am best fit for you, my skills, and even that I have experience on research writing. I have done literature review, this and that. And motivation letter, I guess I tried to 2 3 places only because it is too hectic. Motivation letter. So should I tell in motivation
Yeah,
letter?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
It was of 2 pages, and what should I like in first paragraph introduction, in second paragraph why chemistry and academic background. In third paragraph, I used to write about research experiences, both DRDO and IIT Delhi. And in fourth, research interest and how it is aligning with them. It was like kind of detailed, and SOP was just like a mail, the good version of mail. And in like fifth paragraph, why particularly that group only, why I want to join your group only. And in sixth, like what are my future goals, I want to join industry or the postdoc. And in I just last paragraph was closing, like I really want to join your group and all. That's it.
Okay, that's quite detailed. Just had one question that when you mentioned about your research experience or your about yourself, like about your academics, did you mention about any sort of project did that you undertook in at Miranda House?
Sir, like I told you initially as well, I never loved the chemistry. I used to enjoy it, and I like chemistry even today as well. So I didn't opt for any internship, but there were course projects. I guess that every DU student goes from. It was pharmaceutical chemistry, cosmetic chemistry, and one more pharmaceutical, cosmetic, and green chemistry. So I used to write them under industrial based course project. Like I just word play it was. So there were courses, but I made it like industrial based course project. So these three I used to mention in the mail as well as in CV. Like this shows I like interdisciplinary areas, and I have experience in it.
That's actually a good way to put it. That's actually very smart. Okay, Shallu. So, can you tell us about the interview and what sort of questions were posed at you during the interview?
So all the interviews were different. Like in one interview, I remember they opened my CV and they asked me like every detail. Like they were checking actually I have done it or not.
So
Like one
let's
professor asked.
first discuss the New Zealand interview, and then let's go to the other interviews as well.
So, so in New Zealand interview, like they mentioned in mail as well, they'll ask about analytical chemistry. So they started from scratch. Like they asked me what is molarity, what is molality, how will you make the solutions, and you have to make solution in ppm. Then will you make directly in ppm or how will you come through that? Like so, I had an experience. So I told the answers accordingly. That how will we dilute the solutions and how it will go. Then they like gradually go to the UV spectroscopy because I had experience on UV. They didn't ask me about anything about NMR. Even they knew that I have to work on NMR, but they asked like they were finding that if I worked on UV, I know about it or not. So this was the interview like this. But as I told you, there was internet issue and I got kicked out 2 to 3 times. So they didn't ask me like much. Still they asked me like lot of questions. It was long interview.
And did they ask you to prepare a presentation as well?
Yes, they asked me.
And
I presented my DRDO work as well as IIT Delhi's work.
Okay. In fact, I think I would have totally failed in this interview because if they ask me about molality and molality, now I know I can't remember. I'll just go blank for a couple of minutes that, what exactly, how do you define molality or molality? It's just so like, it feels like I had studied this ages back. So anyway, kudos that you remembered at that time and you were able to, sort of answer that. So, in your experience, most of the questions were related to your project, like whatever projects you had done in your masters.
Yes, like a project in analytical chemistry, which was related around it, revolved around that.
And what about the other interviews? Like briefly, if you want to tell about what sort of questions were posed at you.
Well, like in Canada one, she didn't ask me questions, just saw my profile. She saw that I have worked on cancer in DRDO, and her project is also related to cancer. So she just asked me I'll be able to do it or not. She told me about herself, biosensor, and even she was very sweet. She told me like there is weather is cold and all. It was normal discussion. So she selected me after that. She didn't ask me questions really. In Australia one, all the three, they asked me like many questions about their project as well. Like one was about microfluidics, so she asked me like if I know about it or not. Even protein chemistry, they asked me. And like the last interview in Australia, I remember there were three people, three supervisors were there, and one was asking about my CV, one was my research interest, and one was asking like what they will be doing and I will be do it or not. So it was like, I believe Australia one is very competitive.
Okay.
In Israel also it was very, very tough. Like I thought I won't make it because it was, from my side, it was bad interview.
So, what was it like in Israel? Like, what sort of questions? Why did you feel that the interview was tough?
So they were asking me about synthesis, like telling me the procedure of synthesis because their project was somewhat related to organic synthesis as well. So they wanted that whatever the synthesis I have done in bachelor's, or like I written about hemolysis study or something, I learned about that in DRDO. So they were asking me to tell them exact procedure and something, and I forgot everything. And till then I had very less interest in synthesis. So that is why. Like I was like, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know, I don't know.
Okay. So, what are some key things that you would advise candidates who are going to put out the email to keep in mind that okay, these are the things that they should definitely be mentioning in their CV or the cover letter?
The CV should be crisp and small, I believe, because even on the websites, they used to written either one page or two page. They don't even check if it is beyond two page. So after your grades, you should write your research experiences because they don't have time to see everything. They'll just see the bullet points and the research topics. If they will interest that, we'll get an interview call. And in SOP, it should be one page, and even motivation letter. Like I had of two pages, but like I applied at Vexus, I didn't get it. I didn't get it there, and they literally scored me. I got 68 out of 100, and 70 was the limit. So they literally saw everything, and they wrote that it should be a one page. Even it was a one page motivation letter, I edited accordingly at the last moment, but it was not very good because I did it at the last moment. So I guess things should be short and precise instead of lengthy, and should be highlighted. Like if you are writing long sentences, just bold it or use the gray or black color. If gray and black, it looks formal and it highlights the things.
Okay.
It can
Oh,
be, I guess, one should work on presentation, I believe. Like I had just one internship.
okay.
People have 2 to 3 or 4 internships, even in my class. So I believe presentation matters a lot.
And what is your take on recommendations? What I'm trying to get at is like since you spoke to a lot of people, you were interacting with a lot of PhD candidates or those who were planning to pursue a PhD abroad. What is your take on the recommendation, like from where the recommendation letter is coming from? So let's say one recommendation is coming from an IIT professor, one recommendation is coming from a DU professor, and one recommendation is let's say coming from a tier 2 or tier 3 university professor. So what is your take? Do you think that really matters a lot?
Sir, like in my experience, I don't think so. It does matter. It just matters how is the recommendation. Like professor is writing good about you or not. Because like if I say I'm from IIT Delhi, I have applied I guess around 100 places. And after 100 places, I secured this position. I haven't gotten the mails rewards, I guess. So I don't think so it does matter from where you are.
That's actually a very good point. So, I mean, you have to apply to a lot of places before, you actually start getting those shortlists. So you can hear yourself, Shallu is mentioning that she applied, she close to, she sent out 100 emails and then she got at least 7 to 10 shortlists. So you need to really apply to a lot of places. You can't just apply to 5 or 6 places and then if you don't get a reward, stand back and say, I'm not getting a good opportunity. Okay, let's talk about a few about the financials. So if you don't mind revealing what is the stipend and what is, especially where you are going, in the city where you'll be residing, what are the expenses like? I'm sure you must have searched about it. So can you just give us some details about that?
Yes. So for a single person, it's around $1,500 will be suffice to live, and I guess I am getting around $2,500 to 2,600. So I'll be able to save as well. So I guess abroad this is one lucrative feature that you can save as well,
So
and you can
these
invest.
are US dollars that you're talking about?
Uh, no, it is New Zealand. It is New Zealand dollars,
Okay, and how much
and
is
it
it
is,
in
I guess,
INR? Yeah.
uh, it's around 50 point something or 49 point something. One New Zealand dollar is equals to 50 point something rupee.
Okay. So basically, if you are able to save $1,000, that's about like 50,000 rupees. So that's a good amount. That's good. All right. One last question that I have for you is that you applied, like you said, to a lot of places. So, in according to you, which sort of applications have the best probability of getting shortlisted, or best probability of at least getting a reward? Uh, did cold emails work for you? And or like you applied majorly to places which had open positions and that is from where you got shortlist, or did some cold emails also work for you?
So in my case, no cold email worked for me, and even that was very personalized mail. And like after 1 or 2 hours, I used to get up after completing one mail. Open position worked for me. I guess 50 to 60 mails were there where there was no open position. I didn't get reward.
Okay, so
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 no
in your
possibility.
experience, like it's better to apply for open positions.
Yes, sir. Like again, if I'll compare with my friend, he didn't get single reward from open position, but from the personalized mail, and that from very big professors from Europe who are actually very famous. So I guess it depends on person to person.
That's again a very interesting point that you sort of deliver over here, and that is one of the reasons why I bring so many folks or guests to the Global Gate. I have had 3 or 4 people on Global Gate who have done PhD in Germany, and all of them had a totally different experience. Some of them had really good grades but did not have publications. Some others had very good publications but did not have grades. Some third people had a lot of project experience but they did not have grades, or either grades or publication. So there are so many permutations and combinations, and the whole point of bringing people like Shallu to Global Gate is to make you understand that everybody has their own journey. Like she just mentioned that her friend got reversed to cold email. So you have to try everything out and see what works for you. You just can't stick to one opinion that okay, this person had this experience, so that is what I'm gonna do. Maybe something else works for you. One last question, which is not really one last final question, which is not really related to this topic that we are going to discuss, is how is the teaching if you compare IIT Delhi versus Miranda House or Delhi University in general? Since you are from Miranda House, you can compare that. So is teaching at IIT good? What exactly? How would you compare both of them?
So this is very tough question because in DU usually my friends or people say they don't teach really good, but I guess in Miranda House teachers were so like I don't even have a word. I respect them a lot. They used to teach very well. They used to make proper notes, come on time, like used to have doubt sessions, everything. And like if I have to like I cannot compare because at IIT they teach you research tend as well, research aspects as well. They used to teach theoretical chemistry. I used to like chemistry, I guess, because I'm from Miranda, I believe. Otherwise, I won't be here.
So, like you mentioned, the teachers are quite dedicated in Miranda House, and
Even today they talk to me and like they're totally concerned, and like people say in college they don't even know your name, they know my details, like when I applied, how my father came to them, everything they remember.
okay, that's fair. And do you play guitar? I can see this guitar on the top left corner. Yeah, no?
I wanted, I don't know when, I'm trying till then. I don't know when I'll be.
Okay, okay. And what about extracurriculars? And okay, what's I know I'm like doing a little off topic. I don't know if I'll edit it out or not. But again, just wanted to know this as well. I see that you are like very active on LinkedIn. You are reaching out to people. So do you believe somehow LinkedIn has helped you in some way, or was it all in vain? Or what is your take on being active on LinkedIn and networking with people, or not just on LinkedIn but networking in general? What is your take on it?
So I believe it helps a lot. Like I'm active on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I stopped like 2 3 months ago, but I was active on every platform. I believe it helps me. Like I told you, how I decided the difference between Europe and New Zealand. It happened because of my network only, and people usually see what your profile is. I've maintained it. I believe it also helps me on LinkedIn. And even like when I wasn't getting any position, I mentioned over there, open for work. So I used to get many offers, like many offers from, like I wrote it over there, Germany and Berlin and UK. So I used to get positions from there as well, like for a scientific officer, for many things. I didn't apply, but I guess if I would have applied, or anyone, like maybe 50, 2 3 out of 50 they would have gotten. I used to get 100 positions on LinkedIn, I guess,
Okay.
on in the job options.
You are not interested in those positions, but yes, if someone is also looking into those aspects or those
Yes.
positions, they might just land up a job in that sort of domain as well.
Yes, so even the supervisors advertise these days on LinkedIn, and it really helps. Like I have mailed the few professors I didn't get because I didn't have a publication. Like one position I really liked in US, in Texas, I remember, and in Purdue University, but I didn't get it because I didn't have publication. So I didn't even get a interview call.
Okay, so they like in the email they had mentioned that publication would be essential, or publication was something
Yes.
that would make your position more stronger when you're applying.
I want to mention
Yeah.
one thing, like so from my experience, I believe that March, April, May are the good time for admission. But still, I'll suggest people that they should apply from October and November only, because of the experience only I have cracked the interviews and the positions. Otherwise, I would not have. And even like I started from long emails and came to the short emails. It's because of experience, I believe. So and even I'm very sure about, like now I'm very sure I want to do PhD only. When I started, I was like bit unsure. I cannot go away from my family, or cannot do this research, or cannot read research papers. But due to the process, this long process, I'm very sure. What I'm first time, I'm not confused at all. So I
That,
believe one should start early.
that's actually a fantastic point. In fact, what you just brought up, that if you start, up from October, November, you by March you will have an idea of what exactly is working for you. That's
Yes.
actually, like I mentioned, a very good point um, that you brought up. Any other points, if you sort of like come across which you could not share in the video, please feel to comment on the video itself so that I can pin that comment, just in case if you have some important points, that key points that you need to mention. So once again, thank you so much, Shalu, for sharing your experience. And I think I would definitely be in touch with you, and I would connect you or maybe invite you on the platform maybe after 3 or 4 years to sort of like understand that how your overall experience was in New Zealand, and I guess you might be able to even better guide the prospective students who want to pursue a PhD in New Zealand. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me here. Thank you.
Hey guys, so I'm a verified educator on Unacademy, and along with that, I'm also available on the Unacademy Plus platform where I'm taking live classes along with other educators. So, in case you're interested in attending the live classes, you can subscribe to the Unacademy Plus platform using my referral code, that is SETHI, and that will give you 10% discount Alright, and in case you're not interested in attending the live classes, you can watch the free courses that are available on the Unacademy. For that, all you need to do is go to the Unacademy website or download the Unacademy Learning app and search my name over there, that is ACT. Once you do that, you will get the access to all the free courses that are available on the Unacademy platform. Alright.